This is your 28storms.com cyclone update for this Wednesday, the 9th of November. Tropical Cyclone 4A is still located in the Arabian Sea just off the coast of Oman, and Tropical Cyclone 4A has weakened ever so slightly due to increasing southwest vertical wind shear. It is currently moving, or at least drifting, toward the northwest and is forecast to continue meandering around the offshore waters of Oman over the next 48 to 72 hours. Based on the latest SIMS wind shear analysis, we can see that the storm is continuing to drift closer toward more hostile upper-level winds, especially on this chart. The favorable upper-level ridge that was once located directly over the tropical cyclone has oriented itself more so over central India, and as Tropical Cyclone 4A continues to move closer to Oman, it's going to begin encountering the effects of this trough digging across much of the western half of the Middle East, and therefore the southwest vertical wind shear and dry air associated with that trough is going to allow for the system to dissipate within the next 3 days. The threat of isolated heavy rainfall, especially along some of the higher terrain near the coast, is going to continue to be somewhat of a concern, but the positive aspect of the current enhanced infrared satellite animation is the fact that the storm no longer has an equatorward outflow channel over here toward the south. You can see that the convection is very lacking, and that is again a good sign that the southwest vertical wind shear is now a very potent factor, and simply put, the system is on its final leg, especially as this dry air continues to push eastward out of the desert. Switching gears over to the southern hemisphere, we can see that upper level ridging has been able to establish itself a little bit better here across the Arafura Sea and over the extreme northern half of the Northern Territory, and so the upper level winds have become a lot lighter. However, we're still dealing with quite a lot of dry air, so the upper level environment is still not quite favorable for any tropical development anywhere close to the Australian continent at this time. But in the meantime, we do see some daily showers and the thunderstorms beginning to pop up across the Northern Territory and even into southern Australia. Now, as we look out into the Coral Sea and areas of the South Pacific, we'll notice that there is a fairly strong mid to upper level trough extending across much of this area, but more toward the north we do see some upper level ridging trying to make its way down more toward the south, and over the next 3 to 5 days this trough is going to begin shifting a little bit more toward the southeast, allowing this upper level ridge to shift more so into the region. So this pattern change is going to allow for a surface trough to potentially set up, and there certainly isn't quite enough evidence to suggest that this surface trough will generate a well-organized tropical cyclone or anything of the sort, but it does look fairly likely that surface pressures will begin to lower in this region, and we will begin to see a more rainy period here, and that will be the area to watch in the southern hemisphere. This is the ECMWF Day 4 sea level pressure forecast, and sure enough it does have a weak 1008 HPA surface low located just to the east of the Solomon Islands. So the tropics in the southern hemisphere are quiet for now, but we may begin to focus a little bit more toward the area just to the north of Fiji in the 3 to 7 day forecast range. We'll take another look at this tomorrow, and the main thing we will be looking for is a little bit more model consistency and whether the models are continuing to lower the forecast surface pressures in that area. But that's all for now, so have a good evening, and we'll see you again right here at 28storms.com/cyclone tomorrow afternoon.